sit back here so my head's not so big.
I love it. Where are you coming from? Where do you live?
I live in Southeast Michigan, so just across the river. How you doing?
Love that. Very cool. So,
5 hours or so.
so how close are you to Chicago?
Probably about the same distance.
Yeah, yeah. Super cool. I love Chicago. That's the only thing I know. I've never been to Michigan, but I lived in Chicago for a bit, and I remember the Michigan, is it the Michigan Lake or something? What is that right there? Lake Michigan, right? Is that what it's called? Yes.
Yeah. The big lake. Yeah, one of them. It's called Lake Michigan. That's right.
That's it. Yeah. This was 20 years ago. It's been a bit. It's been a bit. So I'm so happy you're here. We've just had a little bit of conversations in the DMs. I can feel like this power that you have inside of you. We're going to jump in and really bring your book to life. You ready?
Yeah. Okay.
It's so
Let's do it.
I mean, they're just fun. They're so fun. Nothing's more fun than this. So we're going to first get into our bodies. Okay. So I want you to just lift your shoulders up and drop it down. And lift your shoulders up. Let's do one more. And out. There we go. Just kind of move your rib cage. What we're doing right now is we're just saying to the body that we see it, that it's safe. Any nerves that you have, we're just going to let them shake out of the body. Maybe shake your hands a little bit. Breathe into the lungs. There we go. Just getting into the body, out of the mind. And I want you to just notice that this actual kind of like nervousness is real excitement. That's all it is. One of my favorite authors, I think his name is Gay Hendrickson. He wrote a book called The Big Leap. Have you ever read that book?
I'm really not much of a reader.
Oh, it's such a good book. He says that fear and nervousness is just excitement without breath. And so I love that. So we're just going to bring a lot of breath in here. I want to first start by, we're going to clean your room and clean my room. So how I do that is I just clean it with light. Does that sound good?
Mm-hmm.
And what we're doing is we're just clearing the energetic field. So we're just going to ask the divine light to touch your walls, my walls, our ceilings, our floors, the doors, the windows, and anything and everything that's in the room around you and around me. They'll be completely cleaned, cleared, and cleansed and activated to the highest vibrational frequency to hold this space for this powerful work to be done. So taking a nice breath in and breathe out. One more, breathing in and out. We're going to call in our spiritual team. So we're going to call in our angels and our guides and our board of directors, our spiritual board of directors, those who are here to support you and the powerful work that you have to bring into this earth. We're going to invite them all to come and sit with us in and through the divine light to hold space with us. So just breathing in, noticing the body's a lot more grounded, a lot more centered. And in this space, we're going to call your book in. We're going to call your book in and through the divine light to come and sit between my heart and your heart. I like your book. Your book is, so books show me visions, all right? Like that's how I hear them. And so it came in on a Pegasus. So to me, that means this book is really magical. What does that mean to you?
Well, ever since I was little, I've always loved horses and dragons, and Pegasus is kind of the combination of those, and that would be awesome once they genetically create either of those creatures for me.
I love it. Well, that makes me so happy.
I can be a dragon rider.
I know. I love that. I love that about you. I've never had a book come in on a Pegasus, so that's really magical, and that's really proof for you that your book knows you. Okay? A lot of the times we think that we are writing these books, but the truth is like they're already written and they know us. right? Like your book knows you. Like that's the image it would show up for you. So we're just going to thank it for coming in on that. And then we're going to invite the book to sit between our hearts. And I love it because it's one of the old books. So not every book feels like this, but books that are old means that they have sacred wisdom in them. So this book feels mighty, it feels big, and it also feels like it's got lots and lots of pages. And it's one of those old books where you drop it on the table and like dust comes off of it, right? Like that's kind of the vibration of this book. It's like, this is ancient, this is old, this is wise. When I say those words, what do you feel? What do you hear?
Oh, my eyes are starting to leak again, and I put mascara on so I wouldn't. So, yeah, it is definitely something that, from what I can tell, is mostly only talked about centuries ago. I did find a more recent NIH paper that dabbled in it based on their own experiences and a very strong curiosity. And I appreciated that they touched on and recognized the different nuances of such things. And I think this will help them.
Yeah, yeah. So really leaning into what you're writing, like your book is showing us, like what you're writing is old truths, ancient wisdoms that need to be brought back to the earth. Okay? Like really landing in that. So let's look inside. Let's see. Thank you for being here with us in this beautiful, sacred book channeling session. And if you felt the stir in your heart that it is time for you to write your book, then I am so excited to tell you that I am going to give you my sacred creative process that allows authors to channel their books. Just click the link below in the description and you will have immediate access to learning the tools on how you will channel your book. Interesting. Okay. Let me try and see if I can make sense of what I'm seeing. So I don't always understand. Well, I'll speak it out loud, and then that's usually how we get clarity. So in this book, I was flipping through the pages, and there was like a door, and it was like a door that takes people somewhere, almost similar to, oh, what is that old children's book? The Witch.
Alice in Wonderland?
Well, that's a good one, yes. And I'm thinking of like the wardrobe one, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Do you remember that? Right? So it's like,
well, I saw the movie.
It's good. It's a good book. Better book than movie. But the message is the same. That like the book actually is a door. It's a door for people to enter into. What is it that they're entering into? Do you know? What are you opening the door for them? Stay in your heart. Stay in your heart.
There's a lot of experiences, as I have categorized them, experiences that I have had throughout my entire life from a very young child. And the experiences come from the light, but they are deeply woven in the dark as well. And my biggest concern is that I want people to experience the excitement and the wonder that I feel when these things happen, because it's just it's unworldly, right? But I also understand, if I were to put myself in their position, how they could see this as being a bit odd. But I will say there have been a number of people that have been a part of these experiences with me in one way or another. And so those, in addition to weeding out just the dark stories, and focusing on the ones that had the light, and really just trying to focus on the light part versus the dark part of those stories, because they can't be separated. And having all these other people that have experienced these things with me throughout my lifetime, that I think will give credibility, and all of these people are still around to my knowledge.
Yeah.
I haven't really talked to any of them other than one, but I don't plan on using their full names. Some of them are pretty prominent people, and that's just not how I operate. I don't have a lot of friends. I've lived a mostly reclusive life, and I know that I have pushed people away for many reasons throughout my life. And I was actually just watching a podcast, and it gave reason for me pushing people away, and that was to protect other people. And I really resonated with that, because I feel like that's probably why I did it. And I don't think any of them are really going to see this.
Yeah.
But if they do, that's okay too. I have nothing to hide. These are all very real experiences. I know some of them are a little difficult to believe, but I've started writing, and the first story came out pretty well. It came full circle, the way that I like it to. And I'm going to really just focus on most of the nuts and bolts of each of the stories. I don't want to add a lot of extra fluff to try and give my entire timeline. These are very selective experiences that I'm choosing to include in the book for the reasons that I mentioned. And I really want it to be received by the right people that will be able to use this information for their own curiosity, research, practice, whatever goodness comes of it. It's really, I really want it to be focused on the light, but I cannot, I became a recluse for a reason, I can't separate all of it. So I touch on it, but I try not to go into detail. Some of it I'm not going to be able to, because, that's the times when I would, hear the voices, and they would tell me different things, and they'd actually saved my life several times. So, but yeah, as I'm writing all these different experiences down and different ones are coming to me, I'm really having to, think through them, and unfortunately relive a lot of them. And, that just gets my PTSD and anxiety going. And so I breathe a lot. And okay, this one doesn't really have anything that I want to put in the book. So I'm going to leave that experience aside. And I don't like to give a lot of light to the dark, if that makes sense. I really just want to focus on the light. I've had enough darkness in my life. I really don't want to focus on that. So I really, and I think that the first story that I wrote, I think that one came across okay. I think that's one that, it was one of my earliest experiences. The next one is going to be a little bit more far-fetched, but I had videos, life sends me things, and I call it life's algorithms, because that's really exactly what they are. You throw stuff out, and it brings it back, just like a Google search. And it's been reminding me that I am part of some of these other groups, like CE5 and things like that, that will... different people will be able to relate to a lot of different stories, experiences, not story. They are real experiences that I've had. And the most recent was a year ago, December, and this last January. So these are things that continue to happen. It, they don't happen all the time. I have been able to deduce one of the categories of the experiences only happen at certain times with specific types of individuals. And those are going to be kind of the last ones, because I feel like in order for people to really understand that that part of the experiences, they really, if I can lead them up into it with these other types of experiences, it will give more credibility. But again, these are all individuals that were included in these experiences as well. And of course, I know all of these people. So, if anybody really wants to do research, they would have to talk to me first. I'm very private and protective of the people who have been in my life, even if they're not. It's just how it is that I am. And it's probably because I'm protective of myself as well.
Yeah.
Probably for these reasons. These aren't things that people really talked about when I was growing up. And if they did, it was in a very negative light. It wasn't handled well at that time. And I'm really grateful that we're in a different time now, decades later, that we can talk about these things. And
So I want you to take a nice deep breath in. All the way down your toes. And I want to acknowledge you for the courage that you have right here. Okay? Keep breathing, keep breathing. It's scary as hell. It's scary as hell to tell the things that we are inspired to share. It is. And I want you to know that you're not alone, that there are a lot of people who need to read these experiences so they don't feel crazy. Mm-hmm. Your sharing solidifies their experiences. And you know what? I know. You don't even have to have credibility, like whatever, who cares? You get to share your stories and your experiences. And then we bless the book before it publishes so that it goes into the hands and the ears and the eyes of those who need it. And anyone who it's not going to serve gets cleared out. They don't even find the book, right? We bless it so
they're not going to be looking for it anyway.
Right? So I really want you to know, like, there are specific spiritual tools we can use that will guide the book to the right people, clear out the people who don't need it. But number one, you rising in your voice, waking up this power inside of you to speak these things, write these things. This is going to do wonders for you in your life. Can you feel that?
Yeah. And this morning I was thinking about somebody else who has had similar experiences, but they were handled quite poorly at the time. And I think that may be a separate, it will be something separate if I decide to delve into that. But this, because I'm not lacking for content. I have a lot of stories. I really just need to pick and choose what ones that I want to put in this particular book. And I'm really staying focused on the, I guess, what we currently call more mystical type experiences with visions and knowings and voices and bilocation and different things like that, spirits that present themselves in various ways. Yeah, so it'll be, last year I published my old poetry from like 20 some years ago, and it felt good to kind of just get that out. It's not that I want it out to the world, but I've been carrying it around in a binder for the last 20 plus years, and I've moved 30 sometimes in my life so far. So, you know, I didn't really want anything to happen to that. And now I want to get these stories, which it's so much easier to talk about. That's another thing I found out. It is so much easier for me to tell the stories verbally than, I can write. I'm not concerned about that, but I'm finding more resistance with actually starting to write each of the stories. And I'm recognizing that as just the one final push that life is, final challenge, I guess you could say, that life is presenting to me, that I have to push through. But I feel good about the first one. So the first one's out, and the second one is going to be a little harder for people to absorb, but there's not a whole lot of details, but it does come, the emotion that was evoked from this particular, or that series of experiences, that comes into play much later in life, when I needed to find self-love, which I didn't even know what that was until a couple years ago. So that, and it was the exact same emotion. So, you know, it's like it was planted in me, and I needed that. So, so it is an important part. I can't really leave it out. Yeah, it's just,
Okay, so
it's more difficult.
let's bring the book in and let's just ask what clarity can come through. Because right now it's like all this energy and creation, and it's really loud, and what we're wanting is we want the book to come in and be a clear path for you, taking all this and then putting it into something really beautiful. So let's just drop in. I want you to go from your head all the way into your heart. Place your hand on your heart. Take a deep breath in and just say in your heart, in your mind, I'm coming back here. I'm coming back here, right into your heart. I'm coming back here. There we go. So we're going to bring this beautiful book, and we're going to ask the book to show us some clarity. Some clarity on how you bring the stories through, how you know which stories to write. Let's see what we hear. Okay, so there's something about this. Your book is showing me these piles of paper. And if you could write just like on one piece of paper, like in big letters with a Sharpie, like one nugget about the story, like this story was 1997, this happened, right? You're going to like title every story, and you're going to put all those papers with the titles of each story out. And then I want you to stand up and look down on the ground, and you're going to ask the divine to show you what stories go in this book. And you're going to see it. You're going to see, like, they're going to either pop up, they're going to highlight, you're going to know exactly what stories need to go in it. Then you're going to gather them together, put them in a pile, and then you're going to take 30 minutes a day, and you're going to ask the divine, show me which one of these stories do I receive today? Which one do I bring through? Now you can do two things. You can do the prayer of light, which I'll send over to you. It's the process I do before I channel books. You can do that, and then you can start writing. Or you can do the prayer of light, and then you can speak it, dictate it into a recording, and later you can upload that recording to I can send you the website. I think it'll be too confusing if I talk right now about it. But there's a way to upload dictation, and it will actually turn it into writing for you. So you can choose what is the medium that you choose to channel this book through, okay? There's no right way. We got to find the way that works best for you. How does this sound?
Yeah. Well, actually, what you may have been picking up on is that I have already listed out all of the different ones, and I have already gone through the list, and I've actually made them a different color for the ones that I do not want to include. And each morning, life tells me what it is that I'm going to write about.
There you go.
That 30 minutes, I think if I focus on 30 minutes and actually just start writing, writing seems to be the way that it really wants to come out. And writing chose me decades ago. What I found with that is that I'm able to include more details and kind of set the scene a whole lot more with writing than what comes out verbally. Verbally, the story still comes out, and it's fantastic, and there's different nuances that come out in that as well. And so I have considered reading them afterwards, reading what it is that I write, and then seeing if, maybe like on a live, and then seeing if anything else comes up from that while I'm actually reading it that I want to, or that wants to be included as well. So yeah, I have a list. It's quite an extensive list. It's not going to be like 2 or 3 things. And I don't, yeah, but I'm trying to keep them short because I don't want, I'm a very nuts and bolts kind of person. I probably don't read a lot because the things that I have read, I often see a lot of fluff, a lot of, almost chapters full of words that have absolutely no content in them whatsoever. And to me, I don't enjoy reading something like that. I want a story. And then if I want to be perplexed afterwards, then and have questions, then, then there's that. And I think that's kind of how it is that these seem to be coming out. And I enjoy that because I want there to be questions. I want people to ask questions of me, of it, of themselves, of whatever. And my biggest thing is I really want to make sure that I'm able to capture their attention. And with what I've learned from different things and the response that I've gotten back on different things that I've written so far, it seems to be coming out okay.
Yeah.
It's just that 30 minutes, Keira. Like putting the pencil in my hand or actually, like typing it in. But I did find a little trick that I found really easy. Now, I'm used to working in Excel. I find there's limitations with Word that I don't really care for as far as, having to scroll back and forth and everything. So I found that when I was writing each of the sentences or paragraphs in Excel and then kind of skipping a line, and then I copied it into Word, then it just boom, there's pages and pages. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. So I like shortcuts, and to me that allows me to just go, I can actually just see like that one word in Excel, and I know what's in that particular paragraph, and if there's something that needs to come, then I can go and review that without scrolling back through page. Again, I'm just not a reader. I don't even want to read my own stuff. But to me, I'm finding that to be helpful, very helpful and efficient. And then, of course, Word pops out if I have typos, so that helps as well.
I love this. I'm feeling like there's one piece before we close today. I want you to drop in your heart and just ask if there's if you have a question, if you need support. It feels like you've got a lot of things already lined up. What is it that you could use more clarity on, more guidance, more support, so that this book can come all the way through?
I think it's really just the fears, the very real fears. I actually had to block some other people less than a year ago because of those fears. So they're still very active and very real. And so I really just need to focus on the 30 minutes a day. And if I can get one story out a day or 2 stories out a day, Whereas if I were to sit here and talk to you, I could literally rattle all of them off, boom, 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 boom. But again, I would like for the resistance to be removed from my writing so that I can just get this done and get it out and then review it and see what's missing, put it all together. I don't know how other people write because again, I'm not a reader. I'm just, this is me, this is me. This is how I operate. This is how I write. This is how I want to present. And I'll probably put each story in its own chapter, like you said, with its own heading that already has been labeled. Like bone or whatever.
Let's do this. Let's do this as we close. Here's what I want to do. Mm-hmm. I want to guide you on how to be protected when you write. Okay. So resistance is something I know very well. Fear is something I know very well. When we are here to make a difference, we're going to hit massive resistance and lots of fear and lots of self-doubt. This is just par for the course. Okay. So just like before we started channeling today, ask the divine light to touch the walls, the ceilings, the floors, right? Before you write, you want to ask the divine to come in and clean your room, like clean it out. You're going to ask angels to hold the space, to be guards, to literally protect you, and use the words to protect you against the resistance, the fear, and the self-doubt. That's the enemy. No one's knocking on your door except for fear, except for self-doubt, right? So we got to put some serious,
no.
Well, okay, all right. Maybe people are knocking on your door. So put some protection around physical people knocking on your door. And most importantly, against the fear, against the resistance, put the protectors up, okay? And then you can ask that they hold the space, that your angels will hold the space for 30 minutes so that you can be in light, so that you can write with light, so you can write with clarity. And then after you write, you've got to do something for your nervous system, okay? Like you said at the beginning, it's waking up old PTSD and memories. This is what writing does. We have to go in and take care of the nervous system and let it know that right now, that experience isn't happening. That right now, I'm in my room, in my space, right? So some practices would be to do some Wim Hof breathing, to go outside and get straight on the earth. I know you know a lot of things. Do the things you know. Okay? Do what you know is going to take care of your nervous system. This is how you're going to write your book. If you don't, the book won't come out because your body's going to go, this is too hot, and I have to quit.
Yeah, I love trees, and there happens to be a small patch of woods behind me with a beautiful little trail that I love going in, and I haven't been back there in months, and I know that I need to get outside for one, because I've been really holed up. I like being under my rock where it's safe from everything. So I know I need to get outside, and I appreciate that push because, that's something that I can do today and then come back and write, and maybe that will give me more than likely that will give me the release the stress in my chest and allow me to get out the next story and the next one.
Yep. So. And it's always this process of prepping the room, prepping your body, being the vessel, and then taking care of your nervous system afterwards. It's just, this is the dance you got to play. This is how this book's going to come through. Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay. So take a nice deep breath in with me. We're going to pour light you from the crown of your head all the way down to toes of your feet. Bringing you back into this beautiful grounded space, reminding you where you are, who you are, placing your heart on your heart, your hand on your heart, and just speaking out like I'm coming back here. I'm coming back into my heart. I'm coming back to me. I'm coming back to this space. And then we're just going to wrap your book in this really beautiful golden blanket, thanking your book for coming and being here, letting your book know that you are a yes to bring it through, that there's this beautiful partnership that's between you and your book. Take a nice deep breath in and breathe out. Let's do a loud vocal exhale, breathing in and out. Yeah, there we go. All right, Terri, I'm excited for you. This book is powerful. This book is going to free you.
It will.
Really, really healing. You're welcome. Okay, I'll text you in the DMs and I want to see how things are going, okay? All right, see you there. If you loved this video, then I invite you to come over with me right here and watch a few more of my book channeling sessions. Join me as I sit with authors and we channel through books that are here to transform humanity. I think you're going to love them.